Okay, so let's get started with some of the different tools and attributes of Toon Boom Harmony. And there are several things that can be done here. Let's take a look at some of the tools here on the left hand side and how they work in interaction with our layers here or our drawings, and also, of course, how they work with the different windows that they give attributes to every element. So, like in many drawing programs, of course, you have a selection tools, and they have inside of them. If you click on them, you hold, you'll discover several options inside of them. So we're gonna try some of those. The first two are for selection, so we don't have a lot to do there. And the third one is the brush that is going to allow us to draw. Of course, that brush is going to work based on the layer that we have created down here. Right now, there is a drawing layer, and that drawing layer is only applied to frame one. You see that once I click on my brush, the tools properties for the brush show up. So I can easily go on and start drawing on my scene. So for now, we are going to just simply use our brushes. And one thing that I want you to be aware of is that since I don't have a background, my screen shows a gray plane. So I don't have an image or a colored background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer that gives me at least a white background so that I can see. I could draw on the gray background; doesn't matter. But I rather put some color behind it or need something white background. So I'm gonna click on the little. Right now I have a drawing layer, which I can delete, but I can also click on the little plus sign and I can create a color card. And that color card got sprayed on top. I'm gonna grab it and move it, put it below because I want it to be below my object. You see my color card shows those little things there. That once I click on that's to show me that I have it selected. That means I cannot draw, modify it there. And that means I can go to my drawing layer and I could draw on it straight on. I could also change the color card attributes if I wanted to by going under Windows, Layer Properties, and I can go in here and modify the name of it and the placement and depth. Because this is a 3D program as well, so you can move things in Z and so on, or you can change the color to a different color if you wanted to pick a different color from here. I'm not changing the color, so I'm gonna stay on the drawing. All right, now just launch the layer properties for that one. I'm gonna click for now on that item. I'm going to get there. So I'm gonna start using my brush, my regular brush, and my regular brush. I'm going to use it in combination with my color. I have some layers that I have, some colors that I have created already here. I'm going to use this blue line color that I used. Let me go back here to my tool properties. And if I draw there, let me say I'm going to just simply go and create a circle. It's going to go and do a circle there. It's too line, too skinny for me, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to just go and change the thickness of the object. I'm going to just make a circle right here. Uh, Let me undo that and do it one more time. Okay, that's not perfect, but it gives me an idea. One of the coolest things that this program has is right now this is of course, it's behaving like a line. If I press 2 on my keyboard, I can zoom in and then my hand, and I can start seeing, of course, the part that it could correct. So I'm going to just simply try to correct this part here. My hand is not that good right now. That's a little bit better, and I could go just simply go and erase the part that I don't care for. So that allows me to correct my drawing as I am doing it, and which is not new, but the coolest thing is that what I'm erasing right now is a vector line. Actually, this is actually a vector. It's not a bitmap. So if I zoom in, you see the line stays sharp all the way. Yeah, there's some little inconsistencies because my hand wasn't that good, but I could go and improve some of that. Now, this object, of course, is an object that I have on my screen, and I can go and just simply apply um, information to it, or put color in it. Right now it has a blue line around it. No big deal. I can erase and do stuff on it. But so I have that one right there, which is my brush. So meaning I could use any of these brushes to create that object. Including some of the brushes that use some bitmaps down here. I'm going to ignore those for now. I'm going to stick to the ones on top and make it a little bit easier. There is also the possibility of using the pencil. And the pencil, it's very similar to the brush, um, and it tends to have a maximum size and center line smoothing and so on. So it allows you to have some sort of like a treatment very similar to the brush. Only it seems to me that the brush has a bit more flexibility. I'm doing it far away, so it might not be the best way to do it. But you see that the program is trying to solve the solution there, but the line is not as good as this one did, because this one is dealing with one line and is trying to put a stroke around it, and that's why it's not as efficient, I believe. So I'm going to go to back here and select this object here simply by selecting with my thing, and I can go and delete it on my keyboard, delete that. There's another little bit there. Notice that when I use this one, when I select on my tool properties, there's a bunch of different ways that I can select. I can select it with a lasso, or I can select it with marquee, which marquee, of course, is making a box around it. Or lasso, I kind of like the lasso better, so you simply just do the lasso and then they get selected, which is pretty convenient. There are some other things there that allow me to modify or snap or move parts of it. I'm not going to get into that just yet. The, if you are uncertain about things, you can see if you leave your mouse long enough on any of those things, it'll the little help line will pop up. Sometimes it just takes a little longer to pop up, but it it should pop up. It didn't do it now, but most of the times it pops up, and it gives you there. It just did it for a little bit there when I left it. So, for example, that one applies to any changes to all frames, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'm not going to apply anything to that right now. I have an object that is just a line, and I want to put some color in it. Now, I could right away go and paint on this object and apply color directly on it. I'm going to just do that by just simply skipping over here to my bucket. And there are several things in the bucket. I'm going to just use the paint for now. And I'm going to go back to my color and let me create a new color here. I'm going to say new. And then I'm just going to rename it. And I'm going to call it pink. And then I'm just double click on it so that it launches it. Of course, remember, the single wheel mode is this one, or the multiple wheel mode is that one, so you can pick. Seems to me, at least I feel a bit more confident than looking at, here. I'll try to see get a pinkish tone right there. All right, and just gonna close that, and that makes it very close to the. Let me just change it a little bit more. All right, so I'm gonna just go with that, and I just simply, of course, can apply color to that, and that makes it pretty cool, and that is nice. I can continue working on it as much as I want, and do stuff. But it is. it is cool, and I can go and modify it if I want to, but I can also separate it within the layer, and allow me to work on it on two different levels. What I mean by that is that right now on this, you see these little icons here on the side. I see that I have my layer is visible on my line layer, and this one here is my um, color art layer. So if I work right now, I was working on the L here. That means that any change that I do on that section, if I go and click here, I select everything. If I click on this one, I'll move it. Clicking on the inside, you see, because I'm in the layer, the line art layer. If I go here and I try to do it here, I cannot do anything on it. Although I'm still on the same drawing element here or layer. I have this within that layer. I have these two levels, and what allows me to do is I can kind of isolate a little bit my object. So I'm gonna go back to my layer here, my line art. I'm gonna just go and click on my selection tool. I'm gonna click on my object, and I'm gonna just simply just gonna say Control X, and I'm gonna go to the other one. I'm gonna say Control V, and that makes it so that um, now the line is in this one and the color is in this other one. So I can go, and if I select this object here, for example, I am selecting only the line. I am not selecting the color. If I go here and I select here, I am selecting only the color and not the line. And you may say, but why do I need that, Paul? You never know. You may, in a moment of your doing animation, you may want to stick to the line part. So you can see, for example, here, I can go, and if I click on my blue line there, I can go and start saying, okay, I'm going to make a little kind of character here that is going to be um, it- just pure line work. Do a better line. So here, for example, having a hard time kind of keeping the line straight. So I'm going to actually go to zoom in a bit more, zoom in through, but I'm also going to rotate my canvas. So I'm going to hold my Control and Alt key simultaneously. You see right away shows up that kind of like the old, light table that animators used to have in the past. So I can go here now, start rotating and rotate my object with my space bar. I can go here, and then I can go and trace. Cannot do it even that way. I trace curved. If I'm going to go back, I just simply click on the little icon down here, and that brings me back. So I got my object, and now I know that you know those objects are. Oh no, that those objects are on this layer. I didn't click on that one. There it is. And of course, the color is on this other layer. So if you turn it off here, you should be able to see it. Let me see. Not showing, I guess. Normally, if I don't know why, when you click it here, you see one or the other one, but not right now. It's showing both for some reason. All right, so I'm gonna ignore that for now. Um, so I'll go back to the tools in a moment, but I want to also show you a couple of little things here, and it is that on this right hand side, we have these other icons. Right now, I'm looking through the camera, which is, of course, the one that shows me the frame of the screen. And if you see that in this frame, I can mm, modify and move my animation, but I can also look at my drawing here. And in the drawing, if I turn this on, I can see the placement of my object. I probably would draw him in the center so that I can animate him. But so this one is just simply my drawing board, my paper, in which I can just actually continue working. It's the same thing. It's only that I'm not. This is my object isolated by itself, and I'm not in any other layers connected to it right now. I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to save my file, and we're going to continue in the next video.